Welcome in, everybody, to a Monday edition of Birds 365. Excuse me. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody had an awesome weekend, a great Mother's Day, and we got some breaking news here to start this Monday morning for you all. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Monday morning, brother?
Doing well. The NFL coming in hot this morning.
Baby.
Hot. NFL kickoff opener. Philadelphia Eagles, your Super Bowl champions, hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Can't get better than that. Big game to start for the NFL. They're going to get a lot of TV numbers. Smart decision by the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And the Eagles get to, celebrate their second Super Bowl championship against what is the fans, I think, still, even though it should be Washington at this point. But I think the most significant rival of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Not to say Washington do it for another year, but John, that's right. The Eagles will open up the season versus the Dallas Cowboys in their home opener. It's Thursday night football. It's September 4th. So set your calendars, everybody. Let me get you the number. How many days until September 4th, Johnny Mac? We got 115 days. 115 days. Some call this week Johnny Mac's favorite week of the offseason. We play win and loss, and we prospect the schedule out. But John, I think this is an awesome opening game. You mentioned the ratings are going to be huge on it. I think it's a good football game too, man. I'm a little higher on this Cowboys team than others, and they get to watch us raise our Super Bowl banner, which might give Jerry Jones a little bit of, a twisted stomach. But from that perspective, I do think it's a great business decision for the NFL, and it's going to be a great football game to open the season.
Yeah, no doubt from an NFL perspective, it's a home run. I mean, the Cowboys are what the Cowboys are as far as TV and that part of it. So the business aspect, certainly a home run. A lot of speculation. I'll take this time. You mentioned my favorite week of the year, tongue in cheek. Again, PSA, please don't send me your schedule leaks. I don't care. I'm not paying attention to them. If I get it from the NFL, I get it from the NFL. That's about it. I mean, we're talking logistics. A little bit strange to have this big of a rivalry game kicking the season off, but again, I think from the business standpoint, it makes so much sense. And that will probably be, I would venture to guess, certainly most watched game for most of the season until you get later in the season. Maybe you have a matchup of two legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Maybe that'll pass it late in the season, but certainly early. This is the most high profile game. You can argue. You can argue Kansas. A lot of people for those stupid leaks were talking about Chicago trying to speculate and piece together because there's a lot of hype in two big markets. But obviously Philadelphia, Dallas is a proven draw. Proven. You don't have to speculate about what Ben Johnson means or what Caleb Williams means. This is a proven draw no matter what. And the only thing that can derail that is if somebody isn't as good as they're expected to be later in the season. So, everybody will be hyped up week one. You're a little bit higher on Dallas than I am, but they're better than they were last year. That's for sure. At least if Dak Prescott is standing for week one. So should be competitive, but a good spot for the Eagles as well. Obviously home, it's difficult to win at Lincoln Financial Field to begin with, and they're just the better football team. So good chance to get off on a good start on top of all the business reasons.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And now, obviously, the Dallas, they win the offseason every year, John. So it's that early game is a chance to capitalize on when everybody thinks Dallas is going to be the best team in football, whether they are or they aren't.
I don't think too many think that.
I don't know, John. They're the offseason winners every year. You should listen to the Cowboys fans on YouTube. The
Cowboys fans, yeah.
I mean, they're out there talking. We got George Pickens. We're coming for Philly. So listen. The hype early in the year, John used to say this about shitty teams. Well, it exists for a team like the Cowboys too. The hype is big, and we have a chance to knock them right back off the throne and say, go, watch the champs raise their banner. This is what playoff success looks like. now get crushed by us in week 1. I think it's a home run game.
Oh yeah, I think it's a home run game for the NFL, the NFL's perspective, and from the Eagles' perspective, because I think it's a chance to sort of stake your claim and in the NFC East as a whole against Dallas right away. They'll be a somewhat significant favorite, probably not as much as they should be because of the Dallas hype. But yeah, I don't think anybody's calling Dallas either the best team in football or winning the offseason other than Dallas Cowboys fans. You're wearing
but you know what I mean, how there are America's
they are
team.
America's
So
team.
they get, I mean, look, they get a lot of people that root for.
Yeah, they get more hype. That's how I always describe it. They get more hype. There's certain teams in certain sports. I'm a Yankees fan. I admit they get more hype than everybody else, whether they deserve it or not. Celtics and Lakers in the NBA, Cowboys, etc. They're that team. If that upsets Eagles fans, it is what it is. But I mean, it's about more than just success on the field. And by the way, the Eagles are now one of those teams. I say, in this century, only one team has been on national TV more than the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys are a ratings beast, especially early in the year. Like I mean, if last year they were, 4-7 at one point in the year, so it dies down a little bit. This is a good opportunity to capitalize on that Dallas hype early across the league and put them back in their place. John, I'm excited to see it. Do we have any Cowboys fans in the chat? I know we have Cowboys viewers that watch every day, but here we go. We got one Cowboys fan, 1992, says, all I'm going to say is y'all beat us last year with 11 starters out, so congrats. All right, see that, John? They're already talking shit.
Yeah. Well, hey, guess what? Eagles fans talk shit no matter what. All fan bases talk shit until they get, put in their place, basically. And I think the Eagles are a significantly better team. We'll see how it all shakes out. I saw one of those goofy aggregation accounts go through the biggest weakness of every team, and I'm not even going to give them credit, but going through the biggest weakness for every team. And for the Eagles, it was absolutely nothing or something like that, which, that's the other end. That's bullshit. There's plenty of things I can point to where there got to be questioned and answered. So it works on both sides. It works. Every fan base is like that.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Whatever. And the Eagles deserve it more than most because they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and they've had demonstrated continued success. I mean, I know you collapsed in 23, but before the collapse, you were a damn good team. 22 was obviously a great year, and 24 as well. So when Jalen Hurts is out there and playing, the team has been pretty good, as we've talked about with their record. John, from a football perspective, what do you think of this matchup? They got Pickens coming in. They're going to have Dak Prescott back, obviously. They got Tyler Booker, their first-round pick, Donovan Ezra-Who they took in the second round. They had a decent NFL draft, so the Cowboys did pretty good in the draft. But from a football perspective, what do you think of this opening game? Should be a good one.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are a good team, not a great team. I think they'll be in the wild card hunt. So they're much improved. I do think for the people and there's certainly going to be people here that are going to overlook them. You can't do that. Guys are going to be healthy. I don't know where I mentioned that last week. I don't know where Overshawn's going to be, but he's a good player if he's back. I don't know how healthy he's going to be. But, the Cowboys fan mentioned all the injuries. They did have a crap load of injuries. He's not lying from that perspective. And most of those guys are going to be back and they're going to be healthy. Now, you don't know what happens in training camp. That's why I hate this week, the wins and losses.
Yeah, right.
You don't know who's going to be there. But if everybody's there on both sides, the Eagles are a better football team. I mean, that hasn't changed. But the Cowboys have gotten significantly better because most of those injured players will be back. And they're a good football team, not a great football team. But, they'll be 10 winish going for maybe that last wild card spot. That type of team, if they have a relatively healthy season, I would say. they'd be in that conversation.
Could be a big game for Cooper DeJean too, John. Assuming we'll see how it plays out in camp. Obviously, where he ends up lining up, but CD Lamb is one of the best slot receivers in football. So we'll see if Cooper DeJean is lined up in the slot. Should be good to see. John, some other news that happened, and we'll talk a little bit more about this game. We're supposed to have Jeff Kerr today. He was having some internet issues this morning, so we'll see if we can get Jeff Kerr up here to discuss this with us as well, coming up soon. But John, did you happen to see this weekend A.J. Brown's commencement speech to Ole Miss?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw clips and congrats to AJ. AJ's been doing a lot this offseason.
Man, I was impressed with that commencement speech, Johnny Mac. He is a sharp dude. I thought he gave some really good messages in that commencement speech.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of commencement speeches.
Me neither. No, me neither. But I just thought, AJ could have said a lot.
But yeah, AJ's a very, I talk about it all the time. I'm Team AJ. A very impressive dude. So, and I think you heard some of his messages after winning the Super Bowl, which rubbed some people the wrong way. But I'm like, that defines AJ's greatness. Like he's never satisfied. He's like, all right, now what's next? And he's back out there, working hard, working his body. That sort of defines him. You don't get that good by mistake. And I think a lot of people say, well, he's just really talented. I always bring up Randy Moss because I got to cover Randy. Yeah, because his reputation was, diva, pain in the ass type guy. And everybody, well, he's just so gifted, which he was outrageously. But there was always that, well, he doesn't, if they're going to the other side, he doesn't run route, he takes plays off, all that nonsense, which every receiver does. If the play's going the other side, what are you going to run like a lunatic? So everybody does it. But it was all unfair. And I got to see him every day. Never missed a practice, never did anything, worked his ass off, incredible work ethic. Again, people are you just roll out of bed and you're so gifted. That doesn't work in the NFL. And I think it was 6 seasons before he tore his hamstring. And by the way, he played through a torn hamstring, more as a decoy, but he played through it. Never missed a practice, never mind a game. So, there's a lot of those. And I bring that up because of AJ's work ethic. Like the stuff he does behind the scenes to get his body prepared to be where he is crazy. And he's just a very impressive person. So, to impart that message to younger people, it's a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I thought it was great listening to him, but I am with you. commencement speeches are a little bit of baloney. Oh, go out and seize the world, everybody.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
they're all to a certain degree. I'm not picking on AJ. They're all, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't sit around and watch too many commencement speeches.
No, me neither. I just watch.
Obviously, it was interesting from the standpoint of, his season, winning the Super Bowl, coming off his college where he starred. Good for him that he got to do that.
Yep, no doubt about it. For those just checking in this morning, we had the big news: Eagles versus Cowboys, Week 1. We talked about that in the opening segment there a little bit. We'll kick around that game a little bit more. I'm excited to have the Cowboys in Week 1. John, were you there at the 2018 opener when they hung the banner for the first Super Bowl win in franchise history?
Yeah, of course.
What is that like?
I don't remember it at all. I don't remember who they played, so that'll tell you. Yeah, well, for the fans, I imagine. Again, you're talking about different perspectives. For the fans, I'm sure it's awesome, especially that one. They had never won a Super Bowl before. But you're standing here asking me the question, and I got to look it up. Yes, I was there,
I
but I don't remember who they played.
was more asking about the ceremony. I like things, even if you're not a fan, I like the spectacle of things, I like to call it. So the production and things like that. But what goes on? You just raise the banner, I guess down there.
Yeah, well, you can
We've
tell
only done one in Philly, so
you can
forgive
tell
me.
how big of an impact it had on me. Yeah, they
I was in
raised the
college
banner.
at the time, John. I was probably zooted and booted, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I wasn't. I was there, and I can't even remember it. So that's what. But I'm sure it's very exciting for fans, and especially in that, where again it was number one. It was the Atlanta Falcons. I had to look it up. Yeah, I don't remember it at all. I could lie to
We had a
you.
couple people in here who knew it. Falcons and Atlanta.
Yeah,
We had 2 people in here who knew
I could lie to you, but I don't remember anything about it, to be honest. Uh, yeah, I'm sorry. It's I've been through a lot of seasons, a lot of sports teams, a lot of it's fun for the fans. Um, I think the bigger thing I do remember the ring ceremony, which was at the old ECW arena, which is now called whatever it's called, Arena 2300, whatever it's called, 2300 Arena, the old ECW arena in South Philly. I think that was, when they get their rings, I think that's a little bit more exciting for the players. But yeah, seeing the banner. But yeah. I don't remember at all. I'm getting old.
I'm excited to see if anybody's going to be down there for the ring ceremony, for the banner drop in that week 1 game. But Eagles Cowboys, John, I think the matchup on the football field is pretty good because Dallas has those 2 receivers now, and the Eagles have a big hole in their secondary. You got 2, your safety and a corner coming back. So will Dak come in and start slinging it? He's returning to the lineup. I like it from a football perspective too. Now everybody keeps telling me Cowboys are going to suck. I don't think they're going to suck at all. I think the NFC East has a chance to be the NFC North of last year this year. But I think it's going to be a great football game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into run pass ratio on May. Where are we? May 10th, May 12th. Yeah. So,
John, you might as well buckle in, brother. We're 20 minutes into a 10-hour week of shit. You might as well buckle that seatbelt.
I'm not going to get into run pass ratio, but the Eagles have gotten a little bit worse in the secondary. I think if you're being honest, on paper, you don't lose players like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, and not have an impact. And not to mention Isaiah Rodgers and even Avonte Maddox. And the Cowboys have gotten a little bit better because Dak Prescott will be healthy in theory. Again, you never know what happens in training camp. They added George Pickens, who's a good receiver. He's not great, but he's certainly somebody you have to account for, along with C.D. Lamb, who is great. So, yeah, I mean, one's gone up and one's gone down. So they're getting a little bit closer than where they were last season. I think if you're being fair, one's gotten people and one's lost people from that perspective.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for sure. Should be a great opener. I'm very excited about it. Eagles Cowboys games are always fun. Now you have it in week 1 to look forward to. So everybody's going to be jacked up about that. John, one other thing I wanted to talk about in this open, assuming that we do get Kerr up. Kerr was having some internet issues this morning. So hopefully we get Jeff Kerr up here. But, I saw an article, John, from your buddy Ed Kratz on SI.com talking about sobering news for Nakobe Dean. I'm like, what's this about? So I started reading it.
yeah, I'm going to rip it. That's not sobering news.
No, it's not. But I see the connection he's making with. There was a linebacker for the 49ers, Drake Jackson, and he failed a physical, and he suffered a torn left patellar tendon in week 8 of 2023, which is the exact same injury that Nakobe Dean suffered last year, a torn left patellar tendon. And his rehab has not gone well. Now, again, I'm with you. I don't think it's sobering news for Nakobe Dean, but it does show you the complexity, I think, maybe of that injury. It's not like you tore an ACL, it happens a lot, and there's a a commonplace fix for it. I think there's
well, I take it. I don't take it as sobering news from the sound. I'm joking with it, but I get, obviously the comparison, but everybody's different. I think a lot of people, like, I could point to torn ACLs that have ruined people's careers. 90% of them don't.
right.
Chris Maragos, most notably locally, with a PCO. Very difficult injury. Never played again. Won a bunch of money in a suit against his doctors, which forced the Eagles to go in a different direction with their medical staff. Career-ending injury. Other guys have come back. I mean, there's all the time. I tell the story. Sharif Floyd, I tell the story all the time, was an emerging star Philadelphia kid. Emerging star, having a great second year of his career, I think. Had to have knee surgery. They nicked a nerve. It was it. He was done. I mean, the assumption that somebody's injury is going to relate to somebody else's is a bad way to look at it. That's when you think about, how do so many teams pass up on DK Metcalf back in the day, as an example. And he's still playing at a high level today, and everybody points to them, including the Eagles. A lot of Eagles fans have brought up, how stupid are you? Guess what? Medical stuff is not all that cut and dry at times.
Yeah.
So all I can tell you about Nakobe is, which amazed me, he was off crutches by the time the Eagles had clean-out day, which was a couple days after winning the Super Bowl. He was already off. He had surgery the week of the NFC Championship game. That's how quickly he was off crutches. Now, if you go back to his Lisfranc injury, he was on months. He was on a rollabout, then he graduated to crutches, then he had a walking boot, months and months and months and months. So, all I can tell you is he was ahead of schedule. It is a very serious injury, though, and you have to give it time to heal. Like, torn ACLs are funny because guys feel like they can play, 3 months off surgery.
Right.
But it needs a certain amount of time. Generally, the Eagles err on the side of caution, 9 months. Now, it used to be 12 months. Now it's 9 months because of the medical advances. But yeah, if your rehab goes wrong, if you do one thing wrong, you could be Chris Maragos. You can be this guy. You can be Sharif Floyd. So, but what you can't do, or you shouldn't do, is say, well, this guy had this, so this guy should do this. Everybody's different. The Eagles rolled the dice with Sidney Jones with a torn Achilles. That guy was going to be a top 15 pick in the draft, and they drafted him in the second round. Torn Achilles, you've seen plenty of guys come back from torn Achilles, significant injury. Sidney Jones was never the same. Everybody's different. I think if people bring it into their own lives, and if they've had experience with injuries themselves, or they know people that have,
Yeah, right.
Everybody's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm very cautious to compare other people to injury because you don't know what's going on. Now, I am concerned about Nakobe long term because, look, one of the reasons he lasted to the third round was because of injury concerns. And he's been injured a lot in the first couple of years of his career. And his injuries the first couple of years in his career are all lower body injuries. Lisfranc, very serious injury. And now patellar, very serious injury. And that's why, by the way, you see the Eagles drafting not only Jahad Campbell, everybody's going to focus on that, but even Smile Munden on day 3, they know they have to have a contingency if things go wrong. So they know, they're aware.
Yeah. Most recently for me, if you guys remember, for the viewers, if they remember back when I was in Lake Placid for a ski trip, my family, my sister tore her ACL on that trip. So she's been going through the rehab ever since then. And I've been able to see her just through that process. But you're definitely right. Everybody is very different. And it's going to be interesting to see. I think Nakobe's going to be good. When do you think he'll be back? If you had to guess, I know you're not. I'm not trying to put you on the spot here because you're not a doctor. You don't claim to be. But when do you think Nakobe Dean should be back? Do you think he'll be there for week 1? I think that's the big question.
I doubt it. If I'm betting, he's shooting for week 1. Certainly, he's already told me that.
Goal, yeah.
But it's very, Sidney Brown was shooting for week 1, and that dude was running like himself, and you said, yeah, he should be ready. But as I said, the Eagles are going to be cautious. And he ended up having a very difficult rehab. He ended up having another issue where he had another minor surgery. So again, everybody's not the same. And all I can tell you is he feels good. He's planning on it, but I doubt it. In fact, if you told me, I'm focused on, all right, who's going to be the week 1 middle linebacker? Because I don't think it's going to be Jahad Campbell or Nakobe Dean. So I think it's going to be Jeremiah Trotter and they could admit it might be Zach Ball taking the green dot, but whatever, you get my point. Just that second linebacker or Smile Munden, depending on what, kind of summer that he has, at least early in the season. So, I said and it's both weird, labrum surgery, patellar surgery. If you look online, if you that rehab is 6 to 12 months, which is abnormally a wide range because of the things I'm talking about.
Right. 6 to 12 months.
Exactly. Yeah. So 6 months for Nakobe, he should be back. 12 months, obviously not even close. Same 6 months, right around, ironically, for Jahad would be right around week 1.
Right.
12 months, obviously a long time.
Yeah. Now, Nakobe, if you go right in the middle between 6 and 12, would be 9, and then he should be right around there, right? He tore it when? January,
right? Week 1 of the playoffs, so January, early January.
Early January, right, in that Packer game. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I hope Nakobe Dean's out there for that week 1 game. Now versus the Dallas Cowboys. I see my man Game Time Brian in here. Here's one of our other Cowboy fans here, Johnny Mack. He's ready to go. He's already in here talking shit. All right, so the Cowboys fans are fired up. The Eagles fans are fired up. Should be a great week 1 game. John, if Nakobe is not ready, is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. the easy shoe-in candidate to start right now?
No, I think he's a favorite, but I do think Smile Munden could beat him out.
Wow, year 1 for Munden?
Well, I'm not talking about 17 games. In theory, I'm talking about, all right, who's the best to get you through 2-3 games? And he's a little bit more athletic, but, Trotter has the year head start, played well in his limited opportunities. I would say he's the heavy favorite, but, the Eagles are very cognizant, generally do a very good job of making sure everybody's pushed. And if Smile Munden hits the ground running, I think he's better than a normal 5th round pick. He had some injury issues, which is the reason he was there, to be honest, that late. So, yeah, I would say Trotter's the heavy favorite, but I wouldn't shut the door on Smile Munden because Trotter's not proven. And, it could be a true meritocracy situation. All right, who plays better over the summer? And that's your placeholder until others can get back from injury.
Yeah. Should be interesting to see how that all shakes out. But the Cowboys, Eagles, week 1 is the latest news. Nothing else happened, John, over the weekend, right? We had Mother's Day. Hope everybody had a great Mother's Day. Oh, we had the Truist, the golf event that was at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. I think a couple of our viewers were down there. Joe Whipp, I see you in here. I'm sure you were down there. I know a couple of you guys. I think what's the other guy's name? Rich Nutt. I think you were down there. So you guys got to let me know how that was for those.
Sepp Straka wins.
Yeah, I saw that. Sepp Straka. I didn't watch too much of it because it was Mother's Day, so I was hanging out with my mom.
That is his, by the way, his 4th PGA Tour win. The Truist Championship. I'm looking down my notes, and he's expected to move into the top 10 in the official world golf rankings. With
wow, look at that. I'm out of the loop on golf. So Sepp Straka, I didn't know he was a top 10 player.
There you go.
He's going to move in. Yep, and he won the Truist here in Philly at the Cricket Club. I will say the course presented pretty nicely on the TV for those who have ever been to the Cricket Club. Interesting story is my parents got married at the Philadelphia Cricket Club.
Nice.
So they turned that on and we're like, hey, there you go. But ton of Eagles chants, Joe Whipp said. I heard one on the broadcast. I will say that. I did hear one on the broadcast. That was pretty good. And whenever you're in Philly at an event, Joe Whipp, for any sport, you're going to get some Eagles chants. The Phillies get Eagles chants for crying out loud. So good stuff there, though. In Philly, we'll take our first commercial break. Great opening segment here. Eagles, Cowboys. And John is very excited, everybody, for our Thursday show where he will tell you whether the Eagles will win or lose. That's a win. That's a loss. Some call it Johnny Mac's favorite show of the year. We'll be right back on Birds 365. Thanks, everybody, for being here this morning. We should have Jeff Kerr coming up in a bit, but he's having some internet technical difficulties, so we'll work on getting him up. If not, plenty to talk about on this Monday. We'll see you in 3 minutes.
The following is a